This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and life is good, at least if you're LG. This is the LG G6, and this is what we call a pre-review, a first look review, because this is non-final software. It should be a couple of weeks and we'll have the final model in hand. This is the US edition. That means that we have wireless charging supported here, dual wireless charging on the back, but we do not have the 32-bit audio DAC. Outside the US, you get a 32-bit audio DAC. You don't get wireless charging. Don't ask me why. I couldn't tell you. Nobody has given us a good reason for that. But anyway, why is life good? Because LG has had challenges trying to really go after their competitors. Samsung, also based in Korea, not to mention Apple with the iPhone. And my favorite was the LG G4 with the leather back, but they never quite got the look right. And the LG G5 and its friends were just a flop. It was not a real well thought out design for modularity. So they've kind of gone with the pack. Insofar as you have a unibody design here, that means this is an LG without the hallmark removable battery. But what you do get is a very beautiful design. You got glass on the back, available in black, white, and a kind of a silver color that has a little bit of a brushed metal finish underneath that makes it look kind of cheesy. I think it should just be silver, straight silver glass. But anyway, really attractive looking 5.7-inch display here, nearly bezel-less, including the top and the bottom. Very small chin. So this is actually smaller than the Google Pixel XL, the iPhone 7 Plus. Competitors that have even smaller screens. It's pretty impressive stuff. We're going to look at it now. So first off, notice the size. Despite the big 5.7-inch display in the unusual 18:9 aspect ratio, aka 2:1, aka a little bit bigger than 16:9 aspect ratio, they managed to make a very small phone. Not only are the side bezels really narrow, which you can say about the Google Pixel XL here, and even the LG V20, but the chin height and the forehead height on the phone is really reduced, so it's noticeably more comfortable phone to carry around because it's smaller than the iPhone 7 Plus, the Pixel XL, or even LG's own V20, which is a giant among phones. It's also a little bit thicker, just a hair thicker than the Pixel, you know, 1/10 of a millimeter there, but noticeably thicker than the iPhone 7 Plus. But it wears its thickness well. It feels good in hand. It feels like a quality piece. The metal sides here, and they don't really try to hide it. They don't do a taper. They don't do a curve. It's right there saying, look at me. Real metal, real nice, kind of a little chunky. It's good stuff. It feels nice in hand. It looks like high quality. So I really got to say they did a nice job here. It's the most aesthetically pleasing LG ever, I thought. Really, LG makes some pretty decent phones that are often just aesthetically challenged. Now the back here is glass. So of course there is a possibility that it could scratch and you have to be careful of it. It's pretty looking. Obviously Samsung's been doing the same thing. And despite the interruptions here of the owl face with, you got your two eyes, your dual 13 megapixel cameras on the back, a two-tone flash, and this is the fingerprint scanners, also on-off button. It's a nice looking phone, and other than some antenna lines that break up the metal along here, it's a pretty consistent looking design. And we have a USB-C connector at the bottom here. Headphone jack is up top, which is normal, and we have volume controls here. And on this side, there's a tray that you pop out, extra wide one, because it has space for both a micro SD card and the nano SIM card. So expandable storage here, that's good. The base model should have 4 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage, so you can augment it with SD card. Android 7.0 Nougat, one of the first phones besides Google's own Pixel to get the Google Assistant on board too, for those of you who are excited by the enhanced Google search, do it all for you kind of thing. Now when it comes to the display, this is Dolby Vision HDR certified. And it's a nice enough looking display, and really it's a big step up from the LG G5, which had a kind of greenish, not really very bright, not superb viewing angles display. The LG V20 did better, though its viewing angles are still a little lower than average for IPS. So compared to the iPhone, you can see, and the AMOLED on the Pixel XL, AMOLED's still always going to be the most vibrant, and it's going to be the one if you really want to get into VR with your phone, because the refresh rates are higher on AMOLED, so that's why that's a requirement for pretty much everything except for the old Google Cardboard. This is an IPS display, 600 nits, and it is a fine looking display. The viewing angles are good, the colors are very nice and very natural. There's a reading mode that reduces blue light on it. Definitely a big step up, liking that a lot. Another good use for the particularly wide screen is side-by-side multitasking mode here, where you got two pretty much perfect squares of applications that you can side-by-side on the phone. It's nice. It's a little bit, small still of a display to be using multitasking style. But I know some people like to. And then LG still has the selection of apps that they support for having floating little window functionality too. So if you want to have a little floating video player or your little notes app, that sort of thing, you got it. Also, highly customizable as ever. With LG, man, you can change just about everything on the phone, and you've got so many settings here that we actually need a search function to find them all. But you can do things like control knock on, that is tap to wake it up. You've got your always on display, which is quite nice too, and nice to see on something that is an AMOLED, because usually that requires AMOLED. Let's turn it off so you see if you can see that. You can also even rearrange these buttons, change them out with different functionality. That's particularly unusual with Android. Usually, at best, you can just rearrange the buttons there. Another good use is the camera interface. See, right here we have a little film strip of all the pictures that I've taken right there. So you got a couple extra pixels, hey, put them to good use, I always say. Also, pretty easy to use. You can figure out what most of those icons do. This is pretty standard stuff, controlling your flash, switching from front to back. And just like with the LG G5 and V20, we have the option to switch between standard and wide view lenses here. 2 lenses on the back, of course, and a little different from previous models insofar as they've achieved parity. Both are 13 megapixel using the same sensor, same lens. So both the wide angle and the standard view, typical slightly wide view that camera phones have, are having the same resolution, the same picture quality. So that's a nice thing. I think LG realized that people really like that. And I'll show you a few pictures so you can see the difference. One of them is from sitting at my usual desk that I talk to you from in our studio, and from the normal vantage point, and then from the wide vantage point, you can see how much more of the room that you can see, for example. So it has its uses, a couple of other fun photos. So far, the camera's looking very good. The camera app does tend to crash a lot in this, but this is non-final software. At this point, this should be final hardware, folks. It's just the software that's going to change. So we'll have an update review that's going to show you what you're going to get with the final version, but definitely very nice, sharp pictures so far. Low light, decent. Optical image stabilization when you're shooting in 4K with the standard view lens, not with the wide view lens, which covers about 120-degree field of view. And on the front here, we have a 5 megapixel rather than an 8 megapixel shooter. But it's still, the quality seems to be very good. And there's also, even though there's a single lens, we have the option to use standard view or wide view. Now, you don't want to use wide view if it's mostly just you, because you're going to look horrendous. There's nothing uglier than a super wide angle lens on a human face. It exaggerates things. But if you really want to show the background, what's going on behind you, that's kind of a nice feature. Now, the software load is going to vary depending on what carrier you use, what country you're in. This is, like I said, is a pre-release non-carrier branded version. So there's no bloatware on here. That's the good thing. And you can see the programs that LG has chosen to load. I'm sure LG Health is going to stay, and probably the HD audio recorder. We have an FM radio. I hope that stays for all carrier versions as well. Other than that, it's pretty much, you can see, standard Google-looking material design in general, what they did here. They do have a couple of launcher options. You can have one where all your icons are on the home screen, which drives me crazy. I like the app drawer version better, so that's what I've opted for. We have a separate home screen going on here. There's a 3300 milliamp battery sealed inside. Now, we're not going to do battery life since this isn't final software yet. That's something that often changes quite a lot at the last moment because there's debug software in here and that sort of thing. And we won't do our benchmarks yet either. It has a Snapdragon 821 in it, 4 gigs of RAM again, 32 gigs of storage. That is the current, almost considered past gen because so many phones have had it, CPU, and the Snapdragon 835 is upcoming. So in terms of performance, is this a big deal? No, this phone is 2.3 gigahertz. It's already faster than most any of us can think of what to do with the phone, to be honest. But the one thing that might bother you 4 months down the road, besides the fact that all your friends are going to be toting a Snapdragon 835 and going, ha-ha on you, does that matter? It shouldn't matter. Is that the newer Snapdragon processor is going to have 5G support, 5G LTE, otherwise known as gigabit LTE. So yeah, that might, if your carrier is actually rolling that out where you are, might make a difference to you. Right now, obviously not. The only other phone that we've seen so far is ZTE's. They showed this, just showed this at Mobile World Congress, the ZTE gigabit phone. Novel name there, right? It's going to have it. And we expect the Samsung Galaxy S8 will have it because it should ship with either the Snapdragon 835 in the United States or the latest Exynos processor or overseas models. No, this isn't the part where we wish we had beer in our mug. You know, I love the way the phone looks. I really do. It shows fingerprints a lot. Happily, it is IP68 water and dust resistant, which means you can put it in up to a meter of water for 30 minutes. So here it is. Just wash it off. Okay, still on, notice. In fact, LG said, go ahead and put on a wireless charger while it's still wet. And I thought, well, they don't like me very much, do they? But it's supposed to be safe. So there it is, rinse and repeat. Water resistant, always an important feature these days. It's got it. So that's the LG G6. I'm really excited for this one. This is going to be LG's best phone yet. I think it's going to be even better than the V20, which did pretty well but didn't take the world by storm. This as a kind of mainstream design, mainstream functionality, no separate displays, all that sort of thing. I think it's going to hit the sweet spot. Of course, we don't know the pricing yet, and that's obviously going to affect the desirability, but it's probably not going to be priced insanely high. Probably, my guess is going to be like $600, along with the other flagships, would be at the lower end of some of the flagships. And, you know, it's a really nice phone. We'll wait till the final review to decide if there's going to be a reason why you should pick this above the iPhone if you're iOS friendly, or the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, not to mention upcoming S8 coming next month. There's a lot of competition out there. I think it'll do okay though. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this video.